right, well, first of all, thanks for being here today. I just want to introduce some of the folks who are with us and join us on what is going to be a significant point in time for county government and our way we handle and care for the animals here in Rockland. Stephen Powers, the county executive's office. Steve has been an integral part in getting this all done, working with the supervisors in the towns to try to get some understanding of where we're going to go. Will Harnagel is here, from the law department. We have Jeff Lambert. Where is, oh, right here. Jeff Lambert, and that's Tallulah, right?
Tallulah, yeah.
Okay. Tallulah is adoptable. We'll talk about that later. Jerry Damiani from Rockland Green is here. Jerry, how are you doing? We have the town supervisors, Jim Monahan from Stony Point, Mike Speck from Ramapo, George Holman from Clarkstown, and Supervisor Howie Phillips from Haverstraw. Howie has been the point person for the towns, so we basically, he's going to be introduced a little bit to speak to some of the issues that we're transitioning from. How we got here. Essentially, Rockland County government has been involved in the animal care control, working with Hi-Tor for a number of years. The towns also obviously worked in the same area by contributing funding every year towards making the shelter work. This town supervisors, after we went through a whole process as to where we're going to go with animal care, especially with a shelter that was getting quite tired and needed a lot of work, they chose to take a leadership role in both taking over that shelter for the time being, with the goal of building a new shelter. It's something that both the supervisors and county government would all agree is something that's critically needed here in Rockland County. The issue is, how do we get there? So the town supervisors are very clear. They want the responsibility and the leadership role. We're happy to work with them to get that done, and that choice will also sever our relationship with Hi-Tor effective January 1st. We have an existing contract with them to do the care over at the shelter. That will be terminated, and Rockland Green will be taking over, and Howie will go into that in a little bit. The supervisors, last night, we passed a local law that really allowed for the following. The supervisors, while they will work expeditiously to get a new shelter built, we remain committed to preserving taxpayer dollars and the health and safety of our animals. And in doing that, we are leasing the existing Hi-Tor facility, which is county property, to be used at the rate of $1 per year leasing agreement. Obviously, it's a negligible cost at all, and we realize this changeover comes with a tax bite. We want to make sure that at the county level of government, we minimize that and work with the town supervisor to make sure it's being done in the right and the proper way. With that, the county's government will come to an end. And just to give a basic overview of the highlights of the agreement that we are signing off on today. The agreement is between County of Rockland and the Rockland County Solid Management Authority, also known as Rockland Green, for leasing of county property at 65 Fireman's Drive, Pomona, New York. The terms of the agreement is 2 years, January 1st, 2023 through December 31st, 2024, and a month-by-month thereafter as required by the parties. Clearly, the process is, while we maintain this shelter going forward, at the same time, there will be an expeditious effort by the towns under Rockland Green to get a new shelter built. And I know Howard will probably speak to that a little bit later on, because there is at least one location that we're aware of that there's an interest in doing this. The lease price is $1 per year, as I had said earlier. All maintenance, repairs, and alterations will be provided by Rockland Green with approval of the county, because we do still own the property. And all improvements shall remain the property of Rockland County. All we expect from these Rockland Greens that there's work that to be done, that they will advise us of what's going on, because you have a responsibility clearly as the owner of the property. Utilities insurance will be provided by Rockland Green. I'm not going to go much further into this. I'd really rather have Howie speak to some of the issues, because today here is about a transition. Today here is about what we're doing to move forward and with the best interest of our taxpayers and our animals at heart. So I will introduce Supervisor Phillips.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And for the record, let me officially
No,
do this.
Wait,
no,
no,
great.
no,
Okay. All right.
I don't want to lose that dollar. First of all, let me thank the county executive because he's been so instrumental in really bringing this to fruition. I want to thank Steve Powers, our executive director, Jerry Damiani. Both of them worked extremely hard, but especially the supervisors, because they are the ones that are in charge of the animal control officers bringing the animals, whether they're dogs, cats, or other animals, to the shelter. But this was such a cooperative effort. I think from the get-go, we all understood two things. We need to have a shelter for these animals, and it needs to be safe and efficient. And at the same time, we have to look after the taxpayer money. And I think, Ed, we have achieved both of those goals, and I'm very happy about this. Now, Hi-Tor will have a budget that's guaranteed. We're talking about $1.4 million. This will enable them to really concentrate on the animals and not have to constantly go out there and fundraise and fundraise and fundraise. We're working with the county now on the building. There are some improvements that we have to make, but I think this is what the Rockland people have to know, our residents and taxpayers. We have now a fixed plan for the next 2 years, and so we can now concentrate on building a new state-of-the-art shelter for these animals. And when you think about it, it's probably not more than 10%, if that, of Rockland residents that actually utilize the shelter. So I think we have to thank the Rockland residents and taxpayers for their understanding and knowing that we need to have a shelter. These animals need to have a life. They need to have a decent life. And I think when it's all said and done, the people of Rockland County are going to be very pleased. Thank you, Ed.
Thank you. And I have two things. One, I want to also acknowledge the county legislature who last night did support this and vote for this. And it was pretty much something that had to be rushed through at the last minute because we're on the clock.
And
our state representatives for the work they did also. And just to add to one thing, Supervisor Phillips makes a very good point that most people will never directly avail themselves of Hi-Tor. I mean, he has said this before. It's true. Most people will not have a need to go to Hi-Tor for an animal because many people don't have animals. But at the end of the day, I said I did. Personally, my dog Princess was adopted many years ago. Gave my children a lot of love and a lot of time. But the part that I want to emphasize is not just about the care of the animals. It's also a public health issue. We want to make sure the animals are treated well, that they don't get disease, they don't get out into the community and create any kind of issues by no fault of their own. If we can take an effort here now to make sure that we are doing well by the animals, we also are taking care of the people in Rockland County at the same exact time. So I want to make that point that this is not just as wonderful it is about the animals, it is about the animals, it's also about the public health of the people of Rockland County, and I wanted to bring that up. So with that, I will invite Supervisor Phillips to have a seat with me. Now you can take this with you now. Okay, and what we're going to do now, we're going to actually sign the agreement. And this is $1 a year, and Supervisor Phillips has $1 already. Before you sign it, you get the money later. Put that there.
Okay.
There you go.
Okay.
Should we have the dog put his paw print on it?
Then the dog's responsible for some of the payments. We don't want to do that. That would not be a good look.
And look up for a photo then. Okay.
Ready?
Can you get a photo up
Really-
here?
really
There
good.
we go.
Yeah, you can do that. Okay. Perfect.
Okay, we got the $1 in there?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, and
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
Good job, guys.
Thank you, Ed.
Oh, good job.
Okay,
Mike, thank you.
last piece of business before we entertain questions. Tina, I know your question's important, but we have something else here that's important. Tallulah is an adoptable dog. Can you tell us about Tallulah?
Yeah, so Tallulah was unfortunately dumped in our driveway on a cold, rainy day a couple of weeks ago. She is a 6-week-old puppy. She's currently in foster care with one of our staff members. And, you know, things like this continue to happen. here in Rockland County where animals like this are displaced, and there is a massive need, as all these men here have discussed, that these animals need to be cared for, and we got to find homes and keep them healthy so that not only do we have healthy animals, but a healthy Rockland County. So yeah, Hi-Tor Animals show. So
How can and somebody who's watching this today, how could they maybe adopt Lula?
You could call the shelter. You could email us at dogs@hightor.org. That's a great place to start, is just emailing us if you're interested in adopting a dog or meeting a dog or fostering dogs, all things. We also have about 300 cats at our shelter right now, so it's not just limited to ones like Tallulah, but we also have many cats that also could use homes, and we do have a facility that is in need of some help, and all the men here today are hopefully going to help us fix up the place and help us make it a better place for our animals, and the people that help them, and the people help them connect them to the people that need them.
Well, the goal here is not only to make that the existing shelter is tired, we understand that, to make that the best it possibly can be, and we have the assurances of Supervisor Phillips and the town supervisors in Rockland Green that get that done. But the ultimate goal is to do something that has been a dream for way too long, to have a brand new animal shelter. That is what the ultimate goal is here. I am hopeful, because it's been very difficult to get this done. A lot of times we thought we had a location and it just didn't pan out. So I'm very hopeful that finally we are on that road, and I thank Supervisor Phillips and the town supervisors for their efforts to do that, because it's something I do want to see sooner rather than later, as do many people in Rockland County. So with that, we will take questions. Dina?
I have 3 questions. You say it's a dream to see a new shelter built. Everybody understands that. But there's a lot of concern and upset in the community about the proposed new shelter site. It is inaccessible, many say, number 1. Number 2, there is a constant odor that comes from the Joint Regional Sewage Authority. You only need to go down to the site to witness that. And thirdly, there is a proposed 450,000 square foot warehouse that is wending its way through the zoning and planning process in the village of West Haverstraw that will be built right, it has an as-of-right and does not need very many variances or zone change in order to be built. 450,000 square foot distribution center with trucks in and out all day long is a massive site right across from where this proposed shelter is in this existing warehouse. I know that you've said that it's a dream to see a new site. I also know that you've said that the county is severing its responsibility to take care of Hi-Tor, but as county executive and as the leader of this county, I wanted to bring it to your attention that there is a lot of upset about this proposed location, and I wanted to ask you what you felt about that.
Well, first of all, I'm well aware of that proposal. I've had conversations with Mayor D'Amelio before about that. I can assure you that the village of West Haverstraw will not do anything to be injurious to animals. They are understanding of what Supervisor Phillips and the other town supervisors are looking at. So they'll take the appropriate steps, I'm sure, to make sure that it happens. As far as where this goes from here, and I've spoken to the supervisor about this, we're well aware of the fact that there are backup plans that are in place. Nobody's putting all the money in one basket here, but there is something that is, and again, we can't continue to talk about that for obvious reasons, but there is something substantial here, and I would ask Supervisor Phillips.
If I may, just to embellish upon it, first of all, I would take exception to the fact that it's next to a wastewater treatment plant, which is probably easily worth somewhere around $55 million, and the entire system has been changed so you don't get obnoxious odors, you get a very earthy smell. I would also add to that when you mention where it is in vicinity of things, it's right across from the beautiful County Paul Piparato Park. It's right next to a landfill which was closed over 25 years ago, which is now a beautiful park. It's right down the street from the Haverstraw Marina. You can't get any more beautiful than that. It's next to a beautiful kayak and canoe launch. So I think you have to mention all of these things. But not only that, give us a chance. I think whether it's the county executive, the supervisors, myself, county legislators, We all want to build a facility that is going to be wonderful for these animals. You know, these animals find themselves in these conditions, in cages, at no fault to their own. It was human neglect. So here we are today solving the problem. Give us a chance. I think you're going to be very happy, especially with the fact that we're giving them a budget, which I don't think you had mentioned in your last article, is $500,000 more than what they've had before. So they can really now concentrate on the care of the animals. So I think this is going to be very good. Give us a chance on the site. I really think it's going to come out great.
Any other questions, Dan?
Yeah, second question is, you mentioned that only 10% of people use Hi-Tor. Where does that statistic come from?
Well, if you look at the numbers of people that have been going to Hi-Tor to use that facility and compare it to the population of Rockland County, you'll see that it is a very true number.
I still don't understand that. I mean, there's 300 animals there,
And 325,000 people in Rockland County.
but that is not
Well,
the way that
let me-
anybody would
It's
calculate
not even
that.
10%.
That's-
But
that's-
we'll agree to disagree.
That's not the way.
Yeah, you could speak after this.
Okay.
Supervisor Phillips is the one who raised this number. You could speak to him about it directly.
Okay, and my last question is, where does the town of Orangetown fit into all of this? I understand that right now, with the levy being roughly $20 for each county homeowner, and Orangetown has a different levy, $2 or so. But is Orangetown on the hook also for the, let's see, the $300,000, no, the $250,000?
Well, why don't we tell you what they're on the hook for?
$225,000.
So,
Yeah.
as a shelter that we would build for all of Rockland County, Rockland Green will be taxing for any cost of that shelter. So that shelter, that portion that we're going to be paying right now, if that is the site, they will have to pay. And we've estimated right now on their tax bill, it'll be a little bit more than $2. And please, when you say these things, people get confused. So it's $19 and change total. Some people, Tina, would take that and think, oh, it's $19 per thousand. No, it's a total of $19 and change total for the people of the town of Orangetown, $2. We would love Orangetown to join us with Hi-Tor. They feel as though they have a good agreement with the Humane. That's up to them, but I think going down the road, they'll come to our shelter.
No, but what I'm asking is, the $225,000 down payment for the lease, which you've
So
already.
they're,
let me
right
just
now,
finish
any
asking the-
cost of that shelter, new shelter, they will have to pay for. Remember now, out of the 1.4 million, that's going to Hi-Tor for the next 2 years, we'll be paying them. But what they will pay for is any cost that we have associated with a new shelter. Does that answer your question?
Okay, so what you are saying is that the $225,000 that you're using for the 1-year lease, plus the nearly $4 million that you're going to be paying to purchase the building, which you're on track to
Well,
do.
why don't we
right?
just say any cost associated with the new shelter, they will have to pay. Right now, the only cost associated is the 225, roughly 225,000.
Will their share be commensurate with all the
Tina,
other
Tina,
taxpayers?
let me take it from here, okay? I would strongly suggest
Sit
that
down.
you sit down with us, we can talk about this. I would strongly suggest you speak to Supervisor Kenny. The bottom line is that, as you know full well, the responsibility for the care and control of dogs, and in this case, we're expanding it to animals, falls to the towns. Rockland County is transitioning out. Supervisors through Rockland Green are transitioning in. Supervisor Kenny has made statements on this publicly. She certainly will speak to you for sure. She seems to be open to some things later on down the road, but that's her call as supervisor of the town of Orangetown. So
No,
you have any other
just trying to
questions about
understand
it
the
today?
tax- I was trying to understand the tax, how it's going to be
She
shared.
should know that because she's the one who's
Why don't we
responding to the
talk
people.
before we
Yeah,
leave?
Not a problem.
Today, all right?
That's
Anything
fine.
else?
I think that's the end of my
Okay.
questions.
Thank you.
you.
Thank you very much. We good?
Mhm.
Okay, well, thank you very much. Thank
Thank
you
you,
all for
everyone.
being here, and we look forward to
Don't
some
forget
really
your
great things
dollar.
happening.